Alright then, so this is the Platinum DP1000 or the Platinum Desk Pen, but don't get that mixed up with the Platinum Carbon Desk Pen or the DP800, which uses carbon pigmented ink as ink. This, however, is the DP1000, which uses regular Platinum cartridges. But I gotta say, Platinum has proven themselves to be a pretty awesome pen manufacturer. The Platinum 3776, a pen that I've used, I don't own, but is probably one of the best lower end gold nibbed fountain pens, and the Platinum Preppy, which is a pen I love, is probably one of the better, cheaper, non-Chinese fountain pens out there. And this pen, the DP1000, is an awesome pen in its own right, as you probably saw, because it made its way into the top 5 fountain pens of 2017. And this is the video where I just talk about it and how it exactly got onto that list. So this pen obviously is certainly a blast from the past in terms of aesthetics. This is a desk pen, a pen that you usually see in the stereotypical bank or probably old, CEO's desk. A fountain pen where they hold it in a desk pen holder and grab it, use it, and then put it back. And I absolutely just love that aesthetic. And that's probably one of the reasons why I'd buy this, and well, it's probably the only reason why I can buy this, because it's so long I can't put it in my pocket. The thing is, Platinum know this and they sell a proper desk stand. The only issue is the desk stand is a little bit pricey, compared to the pen. This pen costs $12 plus an extra $6 if you want the cartridge, so the converter. But the stand, funnily enough, costs $20, so you could pretty much buy 2 of these for the price of the stand, which is a little bit odd, but well, there you go. But I've got to say, for $12 off Goulet pens, I think this is an awesome pen for the price, well, considering that it is a desk pen. So, first of all, let's get into the specs of the pen. So capped, we're looking at a pen that is 17 centimeters long, 17.3 centimeters long. Uncapped, it's 17 centimeters long, and posted, you can't really do that because, you can't post it. Capped, this pen is 9 grams in weight, and uncapped it's 7 grams, so you're going to be using this pen at about 7 grams in weight. So you can probably tell from that it is an incredibly long pen, and I used to think the Pilot penmanship was a long pen, but this absolutely just dwarves the Pilot penmanship. Uncapped, it makes the Pilot penmanship look like a regular sized pen. Congrats this pen for making it do that. I thought that was impossible, but you made the Pilot penmanship look like a regular sized pen. So obviously you cannot use this pen, every day. You need to put it in a holder. You cannot put it in a pocket or anything, which really does limit it. In terms of ergonomics, I gotta say this is a very ergonomic pen to use. Because of the way that it's shaped, there is no definite place where you need to hold the pen. You can hold the pen back here, right near the nib. You can grab onto it anywhere. The only downside to this pen's ergonomics really is that there is this lovely gold ring where there's a little bit of a step down just to stop the cap going too far back. But it is a really ergonomic pen. I love holding it, and really this little step down, you can't really feel it all that much. The cool thing about this pen is it is 11 millimeters in diameter, and it really remains thick up until this part here. And you really do hold the pen up until, this part here. So while it is incredibly thin down here, the part where you do hold it, it's very, very thick. Now, if you look at the gold accents, I really do love the gold accents. I mentioned this, but the gold accents just do match the nib and this little piece at the back of the pen. Now, this little piece at the back of the pen doesn't come on the DP800, a pen that I've seen in other reviews, and I'm not sure why, but it doesn't come on those pens, but it certainly comes on this pen, adding an extra 1.5 centimeters to the pen. They're just asking for ways to make it look, longer. Honestly, I think these guys made it as a joke just to see how long we can make a pen, but this really does make it look really nice. I do appreciate that. Now, if we look at the material of the pen, it is made from black plastic. It's nothing too amazing in terms of quality. It's not acrylic or anything, I don't think. And the reason why I don't think it's amazing is because there are quite a few scratches on the grip right here, especially a lot of scratches that have probably formed by pushing the cap on and off. And I've got to say, if the plastic is scratching just, from plastic on plastic contact, I don't think it's the highest quality plastic in the world. But I've got to say, even though I am criticizing it, it is made by Platinum. It is a very high quality pen. I just don't think this is the hardest plastic in the world. In terms of the threads of the pen, I've got to say I do like the metal threads, though I'm not the biggest fan of seeing metal on plastic threads. But considering that I'm not going to be, unscrewing this very often, I'm not too fussed. The only reason why I do fear is because if I do put it on the wrong way, there is a possibility that you can strip the threads more easily. Though I did say you won't be taking this off very often, and that's right, because the cartridge that it came with, this is the second cartridge, but the cartridge that it comes with, they will last for about a month. Because it uses an extra fine nib and a very dry feed, these cartridges last quite a long time. When you do buy it, it does come with one black cartridge, and that's about it. Honestly, I had a spare Platinum cartridge from my Platinum review video, but if I'm going to keep on using this pen, which I am, I'm just going to buy the Platinum converter, because the price for about 10 of these is about the same for a Platinum converter. Alright then, let's talk about the nib of this fountain pen. There are two fountain pen nibs available for this fountain pen. There's the really common extra fine nib, which this one comes with, and I was able to find on a lot of websites. Or it comes with the medium nib, which they released quite a bit after releasing this pen, though when I looked for it on Goulet Pens, it was sold out. It was sold out on a few other websites, which makes me believe that they don't make too many of the medium nibbed pens. Now, I gotta say, the way that they have put the nib in this fountain pen is one thing that makes me absolutely love the aesthetics of this nib. I've seen this style on the Mont Blanc, on a Mont Blanc before. I can't remember which Mont Blanc, but it is sort of a chevron pattern, and I absolutely love that on this pen. If you look at the nib, it is gold plated to match the gold accents, and on it has the Platinum logo, as well as some Japanese characters, which I can't exactly read because I don't read Japanese. In terms of nib grinding, this is an extra fine nib, and it's a nib grinding that really made this pen get onto my top fountain pens video. This is an extra fine, and extra fine nibs are renowned for being scratchy, including on my Pilot, though this pen just makes extra fine nibs amazing to write with. It's butter smooth, though it isn't the hairline that this pen is. It's certainly much finer than any Wingsung extra fine, and it is certainly much finer. I don't know how they ground it, but they have ground it to be pretty amazing. In terms of natural line variation, there is a tiny little bit of natural line variation that you can see, though you really have to be looking out for it, because when you're writing, you're really not going to notice it. The downstrokes tend to be a little bit finer than the side strokes, though you really do have to apply pressure and vary your pressure to really see it. Now, in terms of actual line variation, in terms of the tines flexing, there's a tiny little bit of line variation, though you really do have to push down, and you're not going to notice it in everyday writing. In terms of wetness, it is, I'd say, a little bit above average for an extra fine nib, though it is certainly below average for a regular fountain pen, though you don't need it to be stupidly wet for a extra fine nib. In terms of reliability, this pen has to be reliable, because you can put this pen in, the holder for, a day or something, don't use it, pull it out, and you're expecting it to work. This pen is incredibly reliable. I've left it in a non-airtight stand for, a couple hours, days, or whatever. I've come back, used it, and it is very reliable. Doesn't hard start, doesn't skip. This is a wonderful pen to use. Just a shame that I can't use it every day because this is a very nice extra fine pen to use. Alright then, welcome to the writing sample for the Platinum Desk Pen, or DP1000. This has the extra fine nib in it, and the ink that it's using is just Platinum Black from the cartridge. The paper here is just Clairefontaine. Let's get into a writing sample. As you can see from that quick lazy dog writing sample, this pen has a very fine line. Usually there's not much line variation, and that is proved by here. One thing that I'll say in my experience from using an extra fine nib is the extra fine nib can make your writing look very messy or just very beautiful. And my theory is just because the line's so thin, any squiggle or anything that you do wrong is going to get picked up, whereas on a wider nib, that's sort of masked. That's just my little theory or anything, but if you just do a line and then do a bump, it's much more noticeable than that. So here I hope that writing was sort of legible, but very nice experience to write with, very smooth for an extra fine nib, though it's obviously not a buttery smooth broad. Let's do quick writing. There we go. Awful writing, but absolutely it kept up with it. So the feed in this is pretty remarkable. If we just move the camera down, there we go. So in terms of natural line variation, as I said, if you do it in this direction like this, you're not really going to see it, but if you do a straight line and then you look at the side strokes, you can see that the side strokes are certainly thicker than the downstrokes. Not much thicker, but certainly a little bit thicker, but not thick enough for you to notice it. In terms of line variation, that's no pressure, and I'll slowly build up pressure. And there is certainly a little bit of line variation to give, though it's certainly not the same amount of contrast as we saw on the Pilot extra fine nib. Though if you do want to try and squeeze some line variation in, you certainly can. So yeah, there is certainly something to be squeezed in from that. If we take a look at wetness, very consistent writing, very consistent ink flow. Probably above, or probably average, or so maybe a little bit above average for an extra fine nib, though it's certainly not wet at all. And that's just down to possibly but the feed and just the size of the nib. If you look at reverse writing, very fine reverse writing, though it's not wet at all, though that is just a hairline. That is absolutely beautiful. And I think that is it from the Platinum desk pen. Absolutely love using this pen in the stand, though unfortunately you can't use this portably. No way you can fit this in your pocket.